ExcitementRadio.com, baby.
Tune into the Best Kept Secret every Monday right here on ExcitementRadio.com. Ben Hopshire will send your music to us at ExcitementRadio.com. We're going to listen to it, and if it sounds hot, we got you. That's how we show love. Best Kept Secret every Monday. Independent Artist Showcase. Let's get it.
Nobody likes to start over. Even when they know it's over. When we say till death do us part, I'm gon' mean it from the heart. I don't ever wanna X again.
What's good, y'all? This is Miami's own Red Riding Hood. I am locked to Excitement Radio. Y'all check it out. Keep it locked.
Hey! They want to know if you're ready. We ready? We ready? I'm ready, 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 I'm ready. We ready? We ready? You ready? Hey! I'm ready. I'm ready, 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 I'm ready. Hey! We ready? Hey! You ready? Hey! Get ready. Got up this morning, feel like I'm on 10.
Okay, so we have Selena Hill, who is coming up. And Selena is also a dear friend to the network, and we actually were connected through Ashley Fox. Ashley Fox is a mutual friend of ours and a business colleague of ours, and Ashley is actually on our board of directors here at Women in Media for our National Advisory Board. That's how I was able to connect with Selena a couple of years ago. I would say about 2 years ago, and Selena came and was a part of our 6th annual Women in Media Conference, where we had Angela Yee speak, and Selena came and was a part of our millennial talks, our millennial panel discussion. And ever since, we've been able to keep in touch and follow Selena and really build a relationship with her. And she's very inspiring. She's doing dynamic work in New York City. She is a small, petite young lady, but she has such a big personality. She has such a big, powerful, she's just action-packed. She's just a full package, and what comes with her, she's diligent, she's humble, and she's for the culture, she's for the people, and she supports women. So we have valued the opportunity to build a relationship with Selena, and everything that she is doing to support. Whenever I reach out to her, she's always there to support the mission and the work of Women in Media. And so we are excited to bring Selena back to you to activate your power, to talk more about media. Selena is an award-winning writer, on-air personality, public speaker, event host, and content creator with a passion for empowering marginalized communities. She currently works as the digital editor for Black Enterprise, where she covers entrepreneurship, race, culture, and politics. She also conducts on-air interviews with the likes of Wendy Williams, Spike Lee, and Stacey Abrams. Selena has made guest appearances on NBC, WNYC, NPR, and Bold TV as a guest anchor. She has also co-hosted Amateur Night.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of WIM Speaks Radio. I am your host, DPJeter, holding it down for the #1 sisterhood in the world. Yes, that is Women in Media Global. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is comprised of women who work in media, entertainment, and business. So if that is you, I need you to go to womeninmediaglobal.com and get connected to us. Make sure that you are joining our sisterhood and being a part of what it is that we do. Here at WIM Speaks Radio, we encourage you to own your voice and make a difference in the world. Now, before I get my show up and running, I have to always start with some music. So here we go. We got original Women in Media music in the mix for you today. Let me cue that up. I'm so excited. Yes, Women in Media makes music now. We are always doing something innovative. Let's go. Here we go. Here we go. Play my song for me. What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking in. We here on WIM Speaks Radio at excitementradio.com. Let me see if my song wants to play. My song don't want to play for me, but I'm going to keep working it out because I really want to play this song for y'all. So we were in Atlanta at the beginning of the year, and we actually created an entire album. Let's see if it's playing. It don't want to play for us. It don't want to play for us. What's going on? What's going on? What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? I actually do have a guest in the studio with us, so the show is going to be really exciting. It's more of a how-to show today, and I really like the topic. So if you are a creative, if you are somebody who has many skills and talents and gifts like me, and you want to know how to monetize those gifts, this show is for you. We're going to be talking about how to monetize your gifts and really turn them into maybe a product or a service that will allow you to benefit and kind of grow that piece of your business for you. I am still going to attempt to play the song. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? All right, I think I got something here. That's interesting.
Just let me grow. Don't smother my potential. Let me be what I was sent here for. See, I wake up in the morning and I can hear the birds and the bees chirping inside of me, not outside of me, but who I am is a star and I shine like who I am. I keep on flowing, I keep on growing, and I keep on chasing, and I keep on embracing all of this spirit and truth living in me, cause I am a woman, a mother, a queen. I will flow and I will allow myself to grow and keep on moving where I know, because God is real and inside of me, and it's what I feel. I'm a queen, it's my destiny. You cannot ever stop me. So just let me be, let me go, let me grow, let me flow.
Let me flow, let me grow. Let me grow, let me flow. Yeah. Let me just...
I can, I will, I must. In God I trust. I can, I will, I must. Because in God I trust. I can, I will, I must. Because in God I trust. I can, I will, and I must. Because in God I trust.
Let me grow, don't give up, don't smother my potential, don't smother my potential. Want you to let me grow, want you to let me grow. Don't cover, don't smother, let me do what I was sent here for. Let me grow. Let me go, don't smother my potential. Let me do what I was sent here for. I said let me go, won't you let me grow? Don't smother my potential. Let me do what I was sent here for.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. That was Let Me Grow by Women in Media Global. So there was a couple voices that you heard on that track. One is Quadira T-Art right here from South Florida. Stitches, y'all might be familiar with her because she is on iHeart Miami here. She was on the track. We also had an artist from Philly on the track, and it was produced by Moultrie, who is from South Florida as well, but based in Atlanta, y'all. And I'm just the producer. But yeah, I mean, in January, Women in Media went into the studio and we actually dropped an album. So I have a guest in the studio with me today, Candace Yaeger, and we're talking about monetizing our gifts, our skills, our talents, and it's going to be more of a how-to show. So if you are interested in this topic, I need you to get ready with your pen and paper and go ahead and jot down some notes. Screen record, listen, whatever you have to do. Make sure you get these gems that's going to be coming to you right now. But I'm excited to release this music. We haven't released it. We're kind of just doing something internal with just kind of playing it with our podcast and our radio show and with some of our recordings. But we want to produce, we want to finalize it and actually get it out there. So if you're somebody who you know, entertainment is your thing, you make music, hit your girl up. I'm new in this space, but we had a really awesome time in the studio in January in Atlanta. We recorded a lot of the music, and then we also came to Miami and recorded a track with Suzanne Christine, the queen from Atlanta. I mean, my queen is from Philly. Too many cities, y'all. I'm everywhere. I'm in Philly. I'm in Miami. I'm in Atlanta. Who knows? Tomorrow I'm in Tampa. But without further ado, I would love to welcome my guest onto the show. She is a friend and sister to the Women in Media Global Network. Help me welcome Candace Yaeger to the show.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here, and I absolutely loved those lyrics.
Yes, let me grow.
Yes. I want that written, like all those lyrics in my office on the wall.
Oh my, see, so you're already giving us amazing ideas of what we can do with this.
Yeah.
So let everybody know a little bit about who you are, what it is that you do, and you're here in Miami in the studio with us. So if you want to see my guest, I need you to go to Women in Media. I'm sorry. I need you to go to excitementradio.com and you will be able to actually see us live in the studio for all of those who are on my live right now.
So I am Coach Candace Yaeger. I am from Philadelphia, but now living in Sarasota. I am kind of hopping all over the place as well because I'm in Miami today, but not nearly as much as you are. So
I love it here.
So I'm a human potential expert and a serial entrepreneur. And my first company I started with my husband actually about a decade ago. And I was a recovering mental health therapist, meaning that I absolutely loved it, but I felt really burnt out. And I also felt like not only was I not monetizing my time and talents in the way I could be, but I wasn't making a big enough difference. So started a side hustle. Then that kind of took off as things will. And now I am coaching other entrepreneurs. I do speaking engagements. I am still involved with my business, and we had quite a few headaches. My original business, we had quite a few headaches with that today. So bear with me today because I'm a little.
So you still have that original business?
Yes.
The first business that you started with your husband.
Yeah.
That business is still in operation.
It's still in operation. It's doing really well.
Okay.
I don't work in the business anymore. I only work on the business, which is a big differentiator.
Let's break that down real quick. So Candace said there's a difference between working in your business and working on your business.
Yes, absolutely. So for those of us, I'll make the distinction for a solopreneur and then kind of travel out from there. But for many of us entrepreneurs, we start as solopreneurs, or we want to stay solopreneurs forever and just continue to do our own thing. And a lot of times we will be so in the daily grind that we're not actually working on the business in terms of taking a step back and thinking strategically and planning. We're just kind of grinding away constantly. So that's a little bit of a distinction.
So that's more so when you're working in your business, that's you running the daily operations. And if you are service-based, maybe you're the one who is hand-holding the clients, walking them through, servicing the clients. But working on your business would be...
when you're being the CEO versus being your own employee.
Okay.
So you're, when you're being your own employee, which you have to be when you're a solopreneur, or a lot of times, even if you have, quite a handful of people working with you, you still have a role to do. So you're still being an employee of yourself and kind of grinding away at the day-to-day. But you also have to act like a CEO and know when to hire certain people or know when to step back and like, okay, this is not working. I have to strategize. So I'm at a point now, I don't work in the day-to-day business.
Of the first business. Okay.
But I am still an advisor. I'm still very involved. And
Right.
when it comes to things like, it's in the renewable energy space. So when it comes to like our major conference each year, I am kind of organizing everything in terms of like making sure that, our team is, knows what they're supposed to do, where they're supposed to go. And with COVID, everything's nuts. I've canceled and rescheduled for 4 different people, probably about 3 times. We still don't know if we're going to this conference. It's nuts.
Oh, wow. I mean, but, with COVID, it's still uncertain. And speaking of COVID, let's just have a really quick commercial break. And I just want to remind all of our listeners and all of our family and friends who's tuned in our network, our sisters, we have to wear our mask. It is something that is very important. There is a new strand of COVID out. And as we continue to, we're in the summer now, but we're going to switch seasons and continue to switch seasons. And we don't know what that looks like as we continue to move forward. So I just want to encourage everybody. I know that some people have gotten vaccinated and some people haven't, and there's no way to really tell. So let's just continue to keep all of us safe and think about each other and wear your mask when you can. Wear your mask and, follow the rules of the restaurants. But I don't know if you've seen, but starting tomorrow in Philadelphia, like the mask mandate is back required again. Okay. And a lot of the restaurants have been really concerned and have been raising their concerns, I guess, because there are, an uptick in cases that's increased. And so they're like, for their safety, and because they want to stay open, so masks are back, in full effect in Philadelphia. And I think New York City is kind of going through the motions of vaccinations and things.
It's so hard to kind of keep track of, so like, might as well just play it safe. Yeah. But I don't know about you, but I think that masks are like a fashion accessory. Like,
they gotta be, right? We gotta wear them.
Like, I like to match my shoes
Definitely.
and my mask. Like,
that's our COVID announcement. Okay, we are being socially responsible business owners. All right, back to our conversation about getting this bag. So I'm so glad, Candace, that you're here. And that, you stopped into Excitement Radio here with Women in Media while you're here in Miami. And you look beautiful. I'm glad you're enjoying the city and also, doing some amazing business and meeting with some folks. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful to be here.
So I know that we talked a little bit about your first business and you transitioning. And so you're a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
I feel like I'm learning so many new things about you, over time. I saw like something cool on your page. You were a dancer or a dancer? You are a dancer.
I was a cheerleader.
Cheerleader.
Yes. Now I'm a different kind of cheerleader where I'm cheering for my clients and their successes. Okay.
So with your do you have like a dance background? You were doing something really cool and like...
Yeah, so my background was more in like traditional cheerleading, not dancing.
Got you.
And I was always that person because I am tiny. I was always getting thrown in the air.
Got you. You were the flyer.
Yeah, I was the flyer. So yeah, so I also started a nonprofit as well 2 years ago or so. I kind of dabble in a lot, and you know how it is as creative entrepreneurs, we are always thinking of like new ways to, branch out and make a difference or monetize like all of our skills and just all of our experience as well.
That's awesome. I mean, I agree. I think so. Especially when we are full-time entrepreneurs, we are always thinking of ways to make more money. And, there is the fact that says that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And I got that information a couple years ago, but just recently I got the information of, okay, yes, that's true, but you got to get one stream up going first.
Yeah.
Let that hit 8 figures, 6, 7, 8 figures. Let's say 8, okay? Let that hit 8 figures, and then you move on to the other stream. See, it was just so much missing information that I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And I learned the hard way of running 2 businesses for so long, where I was like, something isn't right. And honestly, I felt like I had to quit one of my businesses in order to make something happen.
Yeah.
And I just learned so much more information switching my environment and being here in Miami, and just kind of like shaking up the network a little bit and getting around like some real movers and shakers and money makers, What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, first of all, absolutely. I think that there's a ton of like the 7 streams of income and that sort of thing. Like, those are all things that like we often take out of context. Right. We have to like look into it a little bit more. It's really easy to kind of think that, and then all of a sudden like go apply for 7 LLCs.
Right.
And especially, and I totally get it as a creative person as well, it's kind of hard sometimes to stay focused on the one thing. I think it's not only about getting something up to a certain income point, or just building something to the point where you can then delegate to others and it's on the right trajectory, and then you can do the next thing. Because it takes a village. Like, none of us, like, you can ask any successful person, like, none of us did it on our own.
That part. That makes a lot of sense. Getting the business to the point where it is functioning without you, where you have those people in place that are responsible for the daily operations of the business. And then that way it's running, it's effective, everybody's making money, everybody's being paid. And then you have the opportunity to maybe shift a little bit and start that other stream. I wish somebody would have told me that 10 years ago.
Oh, there's so many things I wish I could just go back in time and tell myself, like, even 5 years ago, let alone 10, right? Like, but it should be that way. Like, we should always feel like, wow, I wish I knew this last year, because that means that we're
growing,
learning, and
we're learning. Right. So let's continue to talk more about monetizing our gifts and our skills. And so, as an individual who might be a creative or someone who maybe have different ideas, kind of like, what's the first step in creating this process?
I think the first step is just like start, I don't know, you say like whiteboarding it, but just start throwing it out there and like speaking it into existence. Like, tell other people, I'm thinking of doing XYZ. Because at the end of the day, not only does speaking things out, writing things out, it helps our brains kind of process and figure out, where do we want to actually take this. And I think of, for example, I work with a lot of coaches. As a coach myself, it's fascinating to work with other coaches. And I work with a lot of creatives as well. And a lot of times people will say, oh, well, I want to be just like so-and-so, or I want to be just like, their idols in their industry. And at the end of the day, we are not that exact person. And if we keep trying to just make duplicates of other people, I mean, it's great to look at success stories and get just motivation
Or
from them.
inspired.
And get inspired from them. But we can't just copy their model. We have to really start to write things down on paper and think about, like, not only where do we want to take our business or our idea in 2, 5, 10 years, but also really thinking about what we want our day-to-day to look like. Because a lot of times I've noticed that someone will have especially a creative, a passion for creating art, or, you know, you mentioned creating music earlier when we listened to that Hassan song. And, you know, or it's graphic design and things like that. And we'll think, okay, I want to build a company where I'm just making a ton of money doing this one thing. But if you break down what your day-to-day is going to look like, what kind of company do you really want to build? Do you want to be doing that thing that you love for 40, 50, 60 hours a week? Or do you want to create some kind of business where you get to do a little bit of that, but your day-to-day is a mix? Some people love to sit down for 12 hours a day and grind out doing the same thing. Other people, we need to mix it up, and we need our day to look different every single day. So just kind of thinking about what kind of person are you, and what do you want this to look like? Not just kind of the pipe dream of, like, this is what people in this field look like on Instagram.
Okay, so step number 1 is to really envision what you want this potential business endeavor to look like based off of your skill set. So let's go ahead and workshop this right now.
Yeah.
Let's do a live version of it. All right. So let's see. I'm a speaker, right? And I want to monetize my speaking and my abilities to perform. So when I envision what that looks like, of course, it's me traveling the world and speaking on international stages, inspiring people. And I often have the word in my transformative speaker. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but like we said, we don't got to copy nobody. We could be originals. Transformative, transformational, transformation speaker, but also giving you a mixture of performance and speaking. So not only do I dance, modern jazz dance or African dance or hip hop dance, but I also do spoken word. So I kind of want to be able to be looked at as an artist who speaks, and then giving me the stage opportunity to maybe open up with like a spoken word. And then I go into like this inspirational talk, you know, but I have the ability to MC, host. I can moderate. I can keynote. And yeah.
So
those are the things.
Yeah, and I think, you know, first and foremost, like, you hit the nail on the head. You're like, I don't even know if it's a thing, where you're like transformational speaking. You're like, I don't even know if this is a thing, but this is what I want to do. I think first and foremost, that's like key to just kind of like flesh that out and what you want it to actually look like. And then after that, that's when you start to like restart. First, you flesh out like what you want it to look like. Do you want to have a signature talk? Which, you know, we can kind of dive into why
I gotta have
so
a signature
important.
talk.
Yeah.
Because I am such the overachiever. I'm so much that like I will literally create something new for each opportunity, and then that becomes too much work, and you just put too much pressure on yourself. Like, I got to create something new for this.
And that's why it's important first and foremost to say like, okay, what do I want the day-to-day to look like?
Right.
Because there are some people I work with that have their signature talks or their signature programs, but that will it'll feel stale for them. They have to mix it up or switch it up. So they have like a handful of things they'll offer, and they'll switch it out to other people are like, this is my one signature, this is what I'm sticking to. So it's important, and that's why we don't just look at what everyone else is doing and copying it to the T, because you have to think about what you want your day today to look like. Right. I am someone that I have, when it comes to my speaking, I am more so I'm a teacher at heart. So I intend to in the future go more into motivational as well, and getting brave enough to sharing parts of my story and things like that.
Yeah, I want to hear more.
So I've started to personally, I know that I need to have an educational piece. I can't just like get up and share a story. I can't.
I mean, you could.
I could, but that's not, I know what I want to be doing, and I know what I enjoy.
Okay.
Other people, like, I have to have some science and some statistics.
I love that too.
Whenever
I actually
I'm
love that
talking.
approach. It makes you just seem so like you are prepared. You're very educated. You're very like engulfed in the subject. You didn't just you're not vague.
Yeah.
Some people are just so vague, like shoot for the stars, go for it. You can do it. Never give up.
But then at the same time, there's other people that like their passion is sharing their story and moving someone and just pulling out an emotion in someone, and that's all they intend to do.
Yeah.
And for me, I want someone to have like a takeaway. There's always some kind of like
always
steps.
got to be
There's
a
always,
takeaway.
like,
Yes.
There's always steps. There's always some kind of like signature process for them to follow. There is something that I mean, I like when people are taking notes. That's what makes me happy. Other people, they want to speak and then they want to see people like cry or jump up out of their chairs, right? So you have to really think about what you want to be doing and what that looks like for you, not what it looks like for other people.
Right. And as I hear you, encourage all of us to say, be originals. You don't have to copy anybody else's swag. Like, there's two major things. I was listening to Elevation Church and Stephen Furtick on Sunday. That was his message. Be careful what you copy. Mm-hmm. Because you don't know, like, you only see what people put out, the highlights. You only see the highlights of people's lives, but you don't understand you're trying to maybe duplicate this other person's life, but you don't understand what they had to do or what they're doing to maintain this life, whatever the lifestyle is, the sacrifices, the challenges, the ups, the downs, whatever that is. So, that was his whole message, and it was a very encouraging message. But then also on Instagram, T.I. just dropped a post that said the same thing. Like, he said something like, you can't diss the person's swag you trying to copy or something like that. Like, it was so funny. Like, how you going to try and like come at the person who you copying?
Yeah.
Like, don't try and copy me or whatever.
I actually really like that. Because now I'm kind of thinking of so many times that I see people doing that. But it's really interesting to me because we don't have to look at someone else and copy what they're doing, because the world obviously doesn't need two of that. Like, they don't need like another version. What the world needs is like what unique thing you can do that no one else can. So I think it's almost kind of doing a disservice if we're copying too much.
Right.
I don't know if there's anyone else in the world that does transformational speaking, that there's also like dancing and a performance involved. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of creative people out there.
Right.
It could exist. I don't know. But at the end of the day, there's not going to be anyone that's going to do it the same way that you could do it. Mm-hmm. So it's doing yourself and the world a disservice if you're like, okay, let me Google who's doing something similar. Oh, they look awesome. Let me copy.
Right.
It's you're never going to be able to put out your very best if you're doing that.
I was on a webinar with Felicia Hatcher, who is one of the founders of Black Tech Week or Black Tech something. And she's here in Miami, and it was such a great webinar because it was for speakers. It was like a speaker's webinar, really teaching you like how to price your services and how to set up your business. And one of the questions I asked was the same thing. Like, I want to do this speaking performance transformational thing. And she's like, I don't know if anybody else is doing it, but I think you should definitely do it. Like, why would you not? Like, go for it. Because I was like, is that a thing? And she was like, make it a thing. Yeah. She said the same exact thing. So I was like, okay, cool.
And I want to attend the first time you do it. So
it's almost like a one-woman show. And this has been in my mind for years. Mm-hmm. where I wanted to create a signature one-woman show because I'm a theater artist. So I've been trained vocally, acting. I know how to act. I can do the spoken word. I can perform. I mean, my lead skill is dancing, but also I have a mouthpiece on me as well. So that one-woman show aspect, I wrote out the scenes and everything on paper mad long ago. The one-woman show is coming at some point.
But here's the thing, though, and I kind of want to challenge you a little bit in a good way, because, okay, if you've had this kind of like written down for some time, obviously you've kind of workshopped it with yourself, you've processed it. Like I said, like when you're talking something out or writing it down, it just helps your brain make those different connections to take it to the next level. So what has been the stop?
Oh, that's a really good question. I probably overthinking the process, and because I've never done it before, so it's like, okay, I have to hold down an entire show. So it's just me kind of overthinking the process and just taking it way out of context. But that's just me. I'm such an overachiever. I overthink things, and everything's a huge production for me. And it's like, if I can't do this big production, but everything doesn't have to be like this big production. I could literally do a one-woman show and make it a YouTube video.
Absolutely.
Just to get started, you know?
Or even just for, you know, a group of friends, because, you know, now we're getting able to be in rooms with other people again. So, like, even something small like that, I think that this is the one thing that I see time and time again with people, that they have this block when it comes to, like, monetizing their skills or their talents, because they think, you know, okay, well, it has to be perfect. First of all, if we waited for it to be perfect, it's never going to happen. Nothing is ever perfect. I'm a recovering perfectionist as well.
I am so recovering. I just started. Lord help.
When you are a perfectionist, you're always in recovery. It is a constant process. It's like any other kind of addiction. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
But it's true. Like, I had to get to the point where I was like, okay, I have to be okay putting something out there that was good enough, because at the end of the day,
good enough, and the people who don't,
it's great for them.
They don't even know, right?
No. Everybody thinks that what you did is great. You put out something that's 97% to you. It doesn't look like 97% to them. I'm not saying, like, you know, you go do this show and you don't do any planning and you show up and, you know, just figure it out on stage like the day of. Of course you want to put your best foot forward, but 97% is okay.
Wow. I mean, you really just spoke a word to me. Thank you, Candace. There was a comment, Sean Dove, what's up? He says, tomorrow is not guaranteed. Stop stalling on your calling and just jump in. Yo, I know y'all.
I need to write that down. That's good.
I really want to do my one-woman show. So if anybody wants to, and this is another problem of mine. So I always want to have people help me or, like, create this big thing. And I have to get out of, like, you can do some stuff without galvanizing an entire team. I don't know.
Also, too, I think what I see, and I'm wondering if this kind of happens, because once, as a professional or as an entrepreneur or just like in a certain industry, if you hit a certain level of success and get certain accolades, like, suddenly we think, okay, everything we have to put out has to be like this next level.
That is me.
And that's not true, because if we're just like, it's okay to try something that might kind of be less than your successes in the past. Like, it's okay, because who knows? Maybe it'll flop, but how are you going to get to, like, 7 streams of income if you don't have some flops
if you don't, right. Y'all are tuned into one of the most amazing shows here at WIM Speaks Radio. We have Candace Yaeger with us live in the studio. If you want to see my guest, go to excitementradio.com and you can actually see the full setup. You can see my guest in the studio. I know you can probably hear her, but if you want to see this beautiful queen, go ahead to excitementradio.com. I feel like I'm in a therapy session. Like, This is an awesome show. All right, so I know there's more steps to making sure that we monetize these gifts. Let's talk about the second step. I don't know if we've gotten there yet.
So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, in all honesty, I had like 3 main points I was going to talk about because I'm always like really organized, over-organized.
You're prepared.
Always. But now I'm like, oh, there's so many things that I want to talk about.
Talk about them.
This is great.
This is your show. You got
like,
time.
Hey, what step are we on?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you really wanted to, you could break this down into like a million steps. But like first and foremost, after like workshopping it, second is kind of like getting out of your own head. So we kind of started going into that topic without even really
getting out of your own
it's
head.
like getting out of your own head. But also, like, the next thing you do is, like, start, and this is going to be a little broad, because when I work with my clients, obviously, like, it really depends on what size company they're trying to build, what industry they're in, etc. But, like, the next thing is, like, having your own, like, signature system, your own thing.
System.
Yes. So, like, whether it is systems, whether it is a certain method, whether it is a signature talk, like you create your main thing. I'll use the example of coaches because I work with so many coaches. A lot of times, like someone who's had success in business and they just love to mentor other business owners, next thing you know, they want to be a business coach. Because they know as a mentor, they've been able to give advice and guide people. You are not going to be able to be as effective as possible until you have your own set system.
Wait, say that again. Say it for the people louder in the back.
I completely forgot the exact wording that I used, which happens a lot. But I think it went something about you're not going to be as successful as you could be without having like a set system.
And the big the second big takeaway that I took from that is that you said, you know, you want to go on and coach other people and help other people. Mm-hmm. You know, you want to share some mentorship and some advice. Make sure you're home together first.
Yes.
Before you go on out, try to help somebody else home.
Yeah, that's a whole other soapbox I will not get on. But you're absolutely right. When it comes to, and you know, so you're talking about if you wanted to go into this, you know, amazing transformational dance talk production, whatever.
Like I have a 5-person crew to come.
Whatever it is, like there needs to be some kind of like signature. Like
okay.
we're not just wigging things. So, for example, as with coaches, you're not just gonna get a client and then they're gonna dump their stuff. Like it's not like therapy. They're not gonna lay on the couch and talk about their problems and you're gonna give the answers.
Oh right, you gotta have your.
You have to have like your process. Like
okay.
These are the main things that we work on together. You know, there, of course, like I have my whole list. There's some things that we don't have to touch on as much with other clients. Others we kind of have to dig into. But you have to have, especially if you're going to be a business coach or a relationship coach, like there has to be things that you're a set system that you're working on. When it comes to speaking, for example, having your signature talks, not just saying like, okay, you can have a speaker sheet that has all the topics that you are an expert on. The one thing, which was the hardest thing for me to do because I like to talk about a lot of stuff. And I'm all over the place in terms of like I used to be a mental health therapist. You know, I have my master's in business and in psychology. I have kind of bizarre experience all over the place. There's a wide range of things that I loved to talk about, and it was really hard for me to like bring it down to like a few signature things. But that helps people understand what they're paying for. So I could say, okay, I can help you in any area, of life where, or business, or if you're stressed, or if you're having issues with your business partner, like, no, like somebody's just gonna like glaze over. You have to have something like very specific and say, this is how I can help XYZ, this is how I can help these people. So I know now that with my coaching or with my talks, I help people that they do well, but they are not tapping into their potential, and I help them become
Do you help them find it?
I help them become more profitable, productive, and personally fulfilled. So yes, it's tapping into that potential in order to be happier, healthier, and wealthier. So I have like my set talks that I do and my set people that I work with, and you have to be specific, and you
like
have
your
to start
target.
being niche, because
A niche, exactly.
yeah. And if you're the jack of all trades, that's great, that's wonderful, but it's really challenging for other people to understand everything that's in here. Like we have to make it simple, and we have to make a nice little clean package that we can hand to someone that they can understand.
That's true. A lot of the different information and research that I've been coming across as I'm studying and growing and developing is that you maximize your opportunities and your profit when you specialize in an expertise. People know, like you said, what to call you for, and they know exactly it. Even when it comes down to your branding. People, your page, they should know what they're going to get. They're going to your page for something specific, right? So then you begin to maximize more and more and more. And once you kind of have your following and your tribe, and they know and they have a trust factor with you, then you have the ability to almost sell any other thing that you put in front of them is also going to do really well. You know, for example, Sonia Lewis, the student loan doctor, her name, her handle on Instagram is the student loan doctor. Her company is the student loan doctor. And she has created such an awesome business out of that. Now it's profitable, you know, it's highly successful. And she's began to add other topics to her talk, to what she delivers now to her community. So not only is she student loan doctor, now she's talking about how to build your business credit, how to start your Turo and Airbnb business. And she's killing it, you know, but she focused. And I think that a lot of us can take away from this conversation the need to just hone in and focus. And, you know, I will say that I'm a recovering focus. I don't know what the word is, but that for sure is me, because I felt like when I was growing up, I was a multitasker. And so I just developed into an adult that multitasked. And it got to the point where it's just like, this not really effective really anymore. And your bottom line and your numbers tell it all.
Absolutely. And especially, and I'll just kind of side note, multitasking, I do it all the time. I have 50 tabs up on my computer. It's bad.
They gave us too many options.
I know. A lot of multi-passionate entrepreneurs that have a diverse background and skill set is, you know, we think that we can multitask, but in reality, you lose so much productivity with that, and you not
can't
serving
even
anything as good as it should be served. And I think that that's something that we all like fall into really easily. And I love the example of the student loan doctor, because you understand this niche about her. Then you can get a little bit of a snapshot. Then when you go in and learn more about her, you're like, oh, wow, she does all these other things. Instead of if she was just kind of putting herself out there as financial advisor.
Right, very broad.
That's what there's a ton of financial advisors. Or
I
whatever
love
other
that.
title she uses. You know that she's super niche, and then she can kind of branch out from there instead of, you know, being a jack of all trades at first, or a Jill of all trades at first, and then, you know, trying to pluck out clients from that.
And I love that we are dispelling this myth that, you know, it's, if you niche yourself, you're missing out on something. You know, you won't have as many clients, or you won't make as much money, or you won't have as much opportunity. But in the day and age that we live in now, where it's extremely hard for people to concentrate and focus, if they know that one thing you do, it makes more sense now, more than ever, you know. And so, you know, Sonia in the Student Loan Doctor, she did that for 5 or 6 years straight before she even introduced another segment or topic to her business. And it was COVID. COVID changed, and people didn't have to pay student loans. Now I got to do something else, you know? And so she had all this other information, but she was very faithful to that focused topic that she had. And COVID, you know, forced all of us to pivot.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing that's like, it's so important. Like having your signature system or program or whatever, having your thing, and then being willing to pivot. It's okay to have other ideas of what your next thing is going to be, but really staying focused and not getting like, I call it shiny squirrel syndrome, because that happens to me a lot.
You have
it's
such
not just
great
like,
words.
Squirrel. It's like, ooh, shiny object, shiny squirrel.
Right. We think we could do it all, and it's just like, you know, I just feel really proud that, like, I am a recovering perfectionist, and also that I've decided to hone in, and I've decided to really focus and be like, okay, what is it that I really want to do right now? And it's been so great because it's really allowed me to have a plate that I can manage. And it has allowed me to have more time for those opportunities to come in. I have time now. So if somebody calls, you know, I have some availability, whereas before I had so much going on that it made it difficult for me to, you know, if a great call came in, you know, it might have been difficult for me to manage that. And I recall maybe back in 2019, before like COVID was even something that we knew about, I had to do my own sabbatical. I had, like, my team was like, you need a break. Like, you need a mental break. You need to sit down, you need to slow down, because now you're driving us crazy. And you need a mental moment. And so I took maybe 2 months off in the summer, and I forced myself to not work, not do anything, but to really decompress. And like, but all of that came from me managing so many things, you know. You know, I love Women in Media Global, and I started that nonprofit while I also have, you know, AOI Events and PR, which is my bread and butter, which is my PR agency. And so I'm managing both. Women in Media doesn't have a staff, so it's now putting strain on this staff to have to do something that they might not have necessarily signed up for, or vice versa. And it just was a lot, and it began to not work after a while. And it took years for me to discover that, but I'm so happy that I did. And I feel okay with being like, I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah.
You know, I want to focus on this. I want to get this up to where the potential is, because I then began to think like, you know what, this PR business is not for me no more. It's not working out. But the reason it wasn't working out wasn't because it wasn't a great business. It was because it was missing things that I didn't know was missing until I was forced to stop.
Yeah. And, you know, it's you just touched on something so important, because just because something is doing well, just because something is successful, just because it's like, you know, everything's great on paper, just because you can do something well and can continue to do something well does not mean that you should. I think that it's really important for us, and this is same thing, we touched on it earlier, this is when we can end up in the trap of working in our business and not on our business, and not working on ourselves, which, I mean, you're, as an entrepreneur, you are the business. So if you're not doing great, the business is not going to be as not only fulfilling, but as profitable as it can be by any sense of the means. So you have to look at yourself constantly and check in and say, okay, is this where it should be? Is this where I should be? And there's nothing wrong with taking a break. There is something wrong with refusing to take a break.
I am so sorry that this turned into like a therapy session for Jeter. It is. I can't believe it's 7:53. We are like at the end of the hour. I can't believe all that. I looked up and I was like, no, Candace, we have plenty of time, girl. Dive in. And now I look at the clock. We almost at the end of our hour. Listen, I want you to finish your points that because there might be some more steps. So we want to definitely make sure that our listeners get the full step, all the steps to monetize. And then you had something very special also talking about knowing your worth, charging your worth. I think all that is important. So I'm gonna let you take it away.
Okay. Well, I mean, first and foremost, like aside from having something, kind of customized and of course doing lots of just research in general, there's a lot of like business foundational stuff, but there's tons of resources on, I mean, we do not need to, I tell people all the time, you don't need to hire me. You don't, like, which it sounds counterintuitive, but if you want to monetize your business, like you can Google business basics. Like you do not need to spend tens of thousands of dollars on someone. Like first and foremost, just start. Make sure you have everything like your LLC and any insurance you need and stuff like that. Or another, you don't need an LLC. That's a whole different thing. But make sure you just have your, all of your bricks laid. And then the other thing is like, aside from, we're going to get into charging your worth, but especially when it comes to talents or services, if you're a freelancer, I do not want anyone to ever think of an hourly rate. Like, you are going to get in your own way if you have an hourly rate.
Wow.
You should always have some kind of package, and there is like a flat price. If you serve nonprofits, they can have a discounted price or whatever, but you have it is like set in stone.
This is my flat fee.
It is your flat fee, and it is written in stone what they get. And the more concrete that you are, like you should never be negotiating. You should not say, this is my hourly, because there's just a whole different mindset.
You can't afford my hour.
Really though, like you have to know your worth, and this gets into knowing your worth, and be willing to charge that. And and this is like, this could be like, you and I know could go off on this for like another hour, but if you start doing things just for the exposure, that is like toxic words. Do not do something just for the exposure. If you have a strategic relationship where it makes sense and you're going to benefit and they're going to benefit, but like if they say like, this is good exposure for your business, no, that's not enough.
I'm exposed.
Really, exactly. Why would you expose yourself?
I'm on Instagram Live. I'm exposed.
But really though, like you have to really be just set in stone about what you're getting and what's going to happen in the relationship and what the fee is, and don't negotiate on that, and don't take anything less.
Girl, let me just say, you gave a word. That was awesome advice. The flat fee, that's major. That's major. I want everybody to take this conversation extremely serious, and I need you to play it back a few times, and I'm going to need Candace to come back a few times. This was absolutely amazing. This information that you gave, and you just broke it down, and I think that it was great for women in media. It's one of the first times we've had a conversation like this on WIM Speaks Radio, so I know that everybody is going to take a lot of value away from this. Is there anything else that you want to leave with our WIM sisters and our listeners?
No, I think whatever you do, and this is probably for me one of the most important parts, and kind of we're going back to your performance that you're going to do one day soon. A lot of us say one day, and if you keep saying one day, you have to eventually change it to day one. Whatever that looks like. Pick a day, That is the day one that you're starting, and don't negotiate with yourself on that. Hold yourself accountable, because one day will never come, but day one will.
You know what? I've been thinking a lot about, hey, everyone, thanks for tuning in. They're saying very good information, Bridget. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Your income will never exceed your personal development. Come on, y'all better. We got thumbs up. It's a lot of people tuned in. They're loving this information. So thank you again, Candace. I will say, for some time, I always said that I wanted to do the One Woman Show around my birthday. And, for a birthday and celebration for my birthday. So, maybe I should just move forward and do it. And, So
now we know what your birthday party is going to be, your birthday celebration.
Woo, child. Thank you, Lord. I think this has been an awesome show. Please, Candace, let everybody know your website and how they can follow you on social media.
So I am everywhere. I am Candace Yaeger. So the spelling is a little challenging, but it's CANDACEYAEGER. So that's me on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else, and that's my website as well. Or you can type in the website Candace.coach.
Thank you so much to our amazing guest, Candace Yaeger. Y'all go ahead and follow her, connect with her. If you need this business therapy-ish coaching, please go ahead and give our girl a call, hit her up, and monetize your gifts. Use her business, all right, and hire her to help you do what you do so that you can make money doing what you do. This is DPJeter. I'm signing out for Women in Media, WIM Speaks Radio. It's been another amazing episode, and we have spoken. Follow us on Instagram at WIM Global. Our website is womeninmediaglobal.com. Go ahead and leave your emails there. And we're on Facebook. Like us on Facebook at WIM Global Org. Until next time, friends.
I'ma do my thing, do my thing, do my thing, do my thing. I'ma do my thing, do my thing, do my thing, do my thing. I'ma do my thing, do my thing, do my thing, do my thing. It's funny to get hypnotized by that little bit of money. This get ugly, I let my hair grow. Bitches now wanna either I'm really that good or I'm lucky. Either way, as long as I got a check. Either way, as long as I get respect. Really shooters coming straight at your neck. This is once and for all. We gon' lay this to rest. I'm the best in Broward County. Ask about me. I ain't fucking off. I'm a god. And if I ain't on your top 5, then you must be crazy as But sooner or later, you'll see eyes closed. Ain't nobody hotter than me. I'm a mob in the streets and I ride with the heat. Take my time on the beat. I'ma ride for a feet. You riding for free. Top down with my shades on. I can give a by the hater. They see me doing my thing now when everybody need favors. But it's on my own shit. Tell them I'll kiss my but my dick. I'm busy getting rich. You busy doing shit. I'm tired of all the sneak diss and comments. Run up a check, 50 band deposits. You popping in the Maserati. Mash the gas and laugh cause they can't stop me. Drunk as fuck, I'm geeking off the Molly. I know you love me only for my money. All you see is blue face hunters. Really try to tell them I'ma do my thing. Do my thing, do my thing, do my thing. I'ma do my thing, do my thing, do my thing, do my thing. I'ma do my thing, do my thing, do my thing, do my thing. I'ma do my thing, do my thing, do my thing, do my thing.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's your girl Stitches, the original Dandara, and you are officially tuned in to Excitement Radio. If you're not tuned into the Excitement Radio, what are you really tuned into? Nothing.
Hi. So if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. I actually just switched over from SoundCloud to Anchor because it's free. Yes, free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. So if you're not an audio editor, that's cool. Anchor has you covered. They'll also distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms that podcasts are heard. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So if you haven't already, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Oh, hello. I'm Georgette Pierre, and you're listening to Black and Nuanced Podcast, dispelling the idea that all Black people are monoliths, because we're not. My guests and I bring our varying perspectives to pop culture, relationships, and things we go through that we can't always name. Welcome to Black and Nuanced. Shout out to Excitement Radio and a highly unique Soul Flow down in South Florida for holding me down. It's been a minute. I've been gone for a minute. I've had my rollout of After Dark with Georgette Pierre, and now I'm jumping back into my podcast, all the things. My next guest, I'm looking forward to speaking to. Her name is Brittany, but she goes by the name Trap Yoga Bae. And we get into all the things yoga for Black women and self-care. Anywho, I'm not going to spoil it. Here's my conversation with Brittany, aka Trap Yoga Bae. Welcome to Black and Nuanced. I am your host, Georgette Pierre, and I'm so excited to talk to her. I have Brittany, aka Trap Yoga Bae.
Hey, we're a rap group.
Yes. We just need your DJ.
Yes.
We just need your DJ. Yeah. So, would you prefer to be called Brittany, Yoga Bae? What's your thing?
Oh, thank you. Most people call me either Brittany or Bae. I'm just
okay. Come on, Bae.
Call me Bae.
I like it. Let's do it, Bae. Okay. That's so dope. Well, so Bae, can you let them know a little bit more about who you are and how we got into the name Trap Yoga Bae?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a woman, right? I'm start there and, and elevate that. I'm a bad bitch. But seriously, I'm a yogi at heart. I love yoga, but I'm from the hood. And I think that there is this missed mark between bridging the gap between cultural relevance, and that's, being who I am culturally, aesthetically, my orientation, just who I am as an essence, and still wanting all of that cute Zen shit. And so really the brand Trap Yoga Bae is all about bridging that gap. I say, I do it for the sophisticated ratchets, right? People who maybe know how to advocate for themselves and know how to speak and know how to get into a room, but also acknowledge the flavor and the soul in their heritage. And I'm not just talking about being a Black woman. I'm just talking about being a person who lives life colorfully. And so really Trap Yoga Bae is all about bridging that gap between cultural relevance and self-care. So yeah, it's like doing downward facing dog, saying Om for sure, but also opting to, slap a hoe sometimes, or making that downward facing dog sometimes, just judgment free, wild living, but taking really great care of yourself. That's all. That's me.
I'm laughing because I was slap a hoe because I'm thinking like that is definitely a trap lyric somewhere out in the ether.
Gotta be.
I love that. And so, what I read was that you're from California. Are you from the Bay? Like, where in California are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Oakland.
Okay.
And my partner always jokes. She's like, so you're from the Bay Area? I'm like, sure, but I'm from Oakland. We're very, people from Oakland, there's a lot of pride in that town and a lot of culture in that city. So specifically, I am from West Oakland, California, for anybody who that means something to. And if it don't mean nothing to you, now.
Well, no, it means a lot to us, right? Because I keep thinking about the Black Panther Party and a lot of movements that are part of Black history started in Oakland. And I think it's super dope. One thing I thought about with so when your publicist reached out to me, the one thing I think that stood out to me about you was like a Black woman in wellness, but the way you remixed it to make it work for us. And I feel like with the wellness industry, it's not as inclusive as it needs to be. How have you managed to carve out a space for yourself?
I really feel like it's not a manage. I was charged with it. I feel like, before I even started teaching, it really was about a journey for myself, right? Because yoga is that. It's the journey of the self, to the self, through the self. And I just remember going into yoga studios in a neighboring city and just feeling out of place and uncomfortable and really just vulnerable and unseen. And honestly, at first, I didn't blame anyone but myself. A lot of times, especially as Black women, when we don't get that job or we don't get that relationship or we don't feel safe in a space, we say, well, it's me. I'm inadequate. Something's wrong with me. I need to be better. I need to do more. I'm the denominator. And I started off kind of having that same thought process. So what I did was I said, well, I'm going to figure this out. And I went to India and I studied yoga in at a ashram and became a certified yoga instructor. But it was literally for myself and for my own practice. And